fired at Saudi Arabia last night. I will give way to the honourable gentleman.
Very grateful to the Prime Minister on that point. It's being widely speculated upon, especially in the United States of America, that a deal has been struck with Israel, that in exchange for it not getting involved in the war, that America will soft pedal on the European efforts to bring Israel to the negotiating table after this war is over. Can the Prime Minister give us an assurance that, notwithstanding Israel's decision so far not to retaliate, that the British government's determination that Israel must come to the negotiating table eventually with the Palestinians and must grant them their rights of self-determination is unmoved by the current events around that subject?
There is no such deal, and I shall be coming to the British government's position in a very short while. There is one other aspect of this conflict to which I want to turn, and that is the very real threat that exists from terrorism. We are dealing with a vicious enemy, and we have learned that his threats have to be taken seriously. There is, therefore, a risk of terrorist action in this country, of terrorist attacks against British premises and British communities abroad, and a more general threat to air travellers. We must recognise and take account of that. To counter this, the government have taken a number of steps to protect people. 130 members of the Iraqi community suspected of readiness to engage in terrorist acts have now been deported or detained. Security has been tightened at airports, government offices and other public places, as well as at embassies and high commissions abroad. We are also encouraging other countries to improve their airport security. The dangers are considerable, and everyone will need to be vigilant. If the honourable gentleman will forgive me, there are a very large number of honourable members wishing to speak. Mr. Speaker, in the days and weeks ahead, there will undoubtedly be many calls for a pause in military operations to enable negotiations to take place. It will be said that negotiations should be given another chance and that compromises should be explored. We do not wish the conflict to continue a day longer than necessary. We do not wish to risk the lives of our forces if implementation of the Security Council resolution can be achieved by peaceful means. But I must say to the House, the government do not favour such a pause. A pause in the period up to the 15th of January was one thing, but a pause after the 15th of January is quite another. Our forces are now engaged, and our prime consideration must be to protect them and avoid any unnecessary casualties, and that we shall do. In a moment. We cannot agree to any suspension of hostilities which would allow Saddam Hussein to regroup and strengthen his position simply in the hope that that might lead to negotiations on the basis of some vague promise about his intentions. Hostilities cannot end or pause until we know that all Iraqi forces are out of Kuwait. There can be no other basis on which we can ever agree to explore any proposals for peace. Once again, it is in Saddam Hussein's hands. I give way to my honourable friend.
My honourable friend said that all the countries